And it could be maybe the Packers taking a step forward. Cowboys had 12 wins, and the owner said it was an all-in season. They're going to go out and go get it and repeat. And as it turns out, it's the Philadelphia Eagles world, and we're all paying rent in it. And the team that was built for Carson Wentz and then Nick Foles to win it all with Doug Peterson, retooled with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and they wind up a holding penalty shy of getting a shot to tie the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Instead, they lose it to the Chiefs. And Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni are going back with two new coordinators. They lost their coordinators after that Super Bowl season. Offensive coordinator to the Colts, defensive coordinator to the Cardinals. Last year's replacements did not fit, and that is saying very little on something that could fill the rest of this show. They go and get Kellen Moore for the offense, Vic Fangio for the defense, and for the defense, they go and get Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo, Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. They go ahead a couple years ago, draft Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith out of Georgia. They drafted Nakobe Dean out of Georgia. He gets hurt, and in comes a couple of guys who make plays. And also, that offensive line, man, they can maul. They are 3 Bills plus all of them. And their guy, Cam Jurgens, they drafted a couple years ago, winds up replacing Jason Kelsey, struggles for a bit, makes the Pro Bowl. He's hurt. He stays active, though. Landon Dickerson moves inside to take some snaps at center. He's only taken a handful, literally 2 handfuls of snaps all season long. He's your starting center, and that's where maybe the Commanders can get a through line. And sure enough, the Commanders get the ball first in the NFC Championship game and march down the field in 18 plays, going forward on 4th down not only once but twice, making both of them, including a 4th and 5 from the Philly 43. Talk about stones. And Dan Quinn showed his right away. Talk about the stones. And the kid, Jaden Daniels, converts 2 4th downs. They settle for 3, but it is an unsettling start for an Eagles fan. To watch them go 18 plays down the field, make those 4th downs. The Jaden Daniels that has been just looking spectacular all postseason, and certainly from November on, showed up in Philadelphia in that first drive. And the Eagles get the ball back. And what took 18 plays for the Commanders to take a 3-point lead, the Eagles needed 1 handoff to take a 4-point lead. Man. Because they have Saquon Barkley. Dude. Saquon Barkley. This guy. Unbelievable. I don't even know how to put it into words, so I'll kind of put it into numbers to help put me into words. Chris, I mentioned this on the Overreaction Monday pod, so
a lot of good stats
pardon
here.
Me for repeating it, but it's too good.
Yeah, too good.
And we'll bring it to this larger audience. TJ, this is unbelievable. So Barkley's the first player in NFL history with 3 or more rushing touchdowns of 60 or more yards in their playoff career. And he's done it in 2 weeks. 2 against the Rams, 1 in his first snap against the Commanders, in which the Eagles took the lead, which they did not relinquish, and all they did was just grow it. And you know what? No other player in the Super Bowl era has had multiple 60 or more rushing touchdowns in their playoff career. In the Super Bowl era. And he's done it 3 times in 2 weeks. Okay? But he's also the first player all time with 3 or more 60 or more yard touchdowns of any type in a single postseason. So let's widen the net to receivers. No receiver's ever done what Saquon's done on the ground in 2 weeks in their entire postseason careers. And he, on the screen, perfect photograph. He's making the Steph Curry night-night pose. This was at the end of the night after he had a 3-touchdown game. And the Eagles got a 3-touchdown game from Jalen Hurts, who we'll get to in a second, and got a 7th rushing touchdown from Will Shipley. And that's tied for the most rushing touchdowns by any team in a playoff game in NFL history. It's the most in the Super Bowl era, because here's your old gen stat. The only other team that scores 7 or more, 7 rushing touchdowns in a playoff game was the Bears in the 1940 NFL championship game. They beat Washington in that game, but it was a 73-0. This one just felt like it was 73-0 as soon as Barkley hit the end zone and the Commanders started turning it over. The De'Ami Brown fumble after the Barkley touchdown was just the canary in the coal mine, man. Yeah. The fumble on the kickoff return just before halftime, when the Commanders knew they needed to score points before halftime because the Eagles, who had just scored, were going to get the ball after halftime, and instead they give the Eagles a short field. Jalen Hurts took care of that. And then the last fumble after making it an 11-point game and getting the ball back, having a chance to make it a 1-score game again, and Austin Eckler, of all people, puts the ball on the ground. That's all she wrote. Barkley enters the Super Bowl with 442 yards rushing in these playoffs, too shy of the record of most rushing yards by anybody entering a Super Bowl. That's John Riggins in 82. He's already passed Barkley both of the Terrell Davis seasons of 97 and 98 in this regard, and those were the seasons that put Terrell Davis in the Hall of Fame. That's what Barkley's doing. He's putting himself on the path to the Hall of Fame in just 1 year in Philadelphia. That's what he's doing. Because the Overreaction Monday subject matter, and we'll have you listen to that or watch it on our YouTube channel, was Barkley's he's a Super Bowl win shy of having the greatest running back season in the history of running backs. Listen to that or watch it for my answer there. Jalen Hurts, on top of what Saquon did, played his best game as an Eagle since losing the Super Bowl, when he could have been the MVP as a losing player in that Super Bowl quite easily. Since losing that Super Bowl, last year we all know he didn't have a great season, even when they started 10-1. And this year, he didn't do what he did in this game. He was stupendous. He was superb. I thought he wasn't going to be able to do the tush push. I thought he wasn't going to be able to run it. I thought he wasn't going to be able to be mobile. Guess what? He did all of that. He had over 100 or more passing yards in the NFC Championship game, 246, than he had in either round of the playoffs prior to this game. He had 131 in the wild card, 128 in the divisional round. Put it together, he almost eclipsed the last 2 games combined. And then he ran it in 3 times.